As Disney Snow White 2025 gets ready to officially roll out into theaters starting Thursday, March 20th, the Walt Disney Company is petrified of its star, Rachel Zegler, as it's become clear that the leading actress is incapable of staying off media headlines. But just because she might hold her tongue doesn't mean she'll stay away from the keyboard. Let's talk about Rachel Zegler responding to fan criticisms directly here on That Park Place.
Let's talk about the woman who cannot keep her gob shut. It was actually her thumbs in this case. Rachel Zegler fires back at Snow White fan criticism on social media, touts her role in major box office bomb West Side Story to prove her point. Hey, Culture, did you watch West Side Story?
Yeah.
You did? Was
yeah.
it any good?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's a shame. I mean, she got to show off her mid-level voice.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about this story from M. Montanero. Rachel Zegler has finally broken her silence, but not about the massive controversies surrounding Snow White. Instead, Zegler chose to fire back at a social media user who questioned her vocal abilities, completely sidestepping the backlash over her past statements, the film's radical changes, and Disney's ongoing PR struggles. Have you heard about this, Culture?
You mean that this film is controversial?
No. Of course, the film is controversial. It
Oh.
shouldn't be controversial. It should be one of the. It should be a layup. See, these live action remakes should be things that just pop into the box office and they say, "Oh, that sounds kind of familiar. Oh, they're doing a remake of that. Yeah, I'll show up to that." But Disney keeps making changes to try to make them controversial, that's just silly. Why don't you want to make money instead?
No, well, I think they're allergic to money now, Jonas. The only place they like to take your money consistently is at the theme parks, but they're running those into the ground. So you got to ask yourself, what does Disney really have to offer any longer? Because I'm fighting that very thought myself all the time.
You know, when you think about things like casting a person of color to play Snow White, when the name Snow White itself is a comment on the color of the skin of the main character, it is a little bit confusing. Of course, we're going to update it, getting garbled into, well, it's not 1937 anymore. Yeah, or the fact that,
but that was an accurate statement.
Trailer.
Yes, but that was an accurate statement. It isn't 1937 anymore.
It's true. It is not
correct.
December of 1937 anymore. It is 2025. The last time I checked, I keep having to check as I get older to make sure it is actually the year that I think it is. But let's talk about Rachel Zegler and the controversies that she finally responds to. Did she respond to the fact that people don't like that she insulted the original film? She kind of did that back in the day. Did she respond to the fact that she made fun of Gina Carano and talked about how she should be fired from Lucasfilm? No, didn't really respond to that. What was the cheap shot that got her to respond on social media? Here we go. Zegler's reaction came after a recent Snow White event in Spain, where she performed "Waiting on a Wish" in front of the Alcazar de Segovia castle, the real-life inspiration for the castle in the Disney's 1937 animated film. No thanks, Disney. Wasn't so difficult to cast a soprano. This from Audela de la Poudre. And Rachel Zegler fires back herself. "I am a soprano!" Exclamation mark. West Side Story is now streaming on Disney Plus, Heart, and Apple. She's a soprano, Culture, and don't you forget it.
No, she's not.
She is a soprano. There's no way she's not a soprano. She's
a mezzo. She's a mezzo soprano.
Okay, fine. If we're getting into the mezzo, yeah. And I'm a baritone and not a bass, technically, by the range here, but
you have an extraordinarily high range for someone with a deep voice. I'm just going to say it. You have phenomenal range. You should have been in one of those fancy pop groups where they dress weird and sing a cappella.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? I am a soprano, and West Side Story is now streaming on Disney Plus, sir.
Okay.
Why can't this woman keep her mouth shut?
I don't know.
Like, of all the things to let go, they got her on her vocal chops, which is something that if you have been a performer at the Met, I forget if she's actually performed at the Met. I think she might have. Maybe I'm getting her confused with Emmy Rossum back in the day.
Or like the girl that used to play the white chick in Wicked. What's her name?
No, she is playing the white chick in Snow White. She is playing that.
Oh,
are you talking about Idina Menzel?
No.
Adele Dazeem?
No.
Wait. Christian Chenoweth?
Yeah, Chenoweth. Yeah,
Ariana Grande.
Yeah. No, not Grande. Grande is like, what do you call him? Not even a tall. Grande is like, paper kite. I don't know. Very bad last name.
Well, she does sound like a cup of coffee. A very recent cup of coffee here. Anyways, while Zegler won a Golden Globe for her role as Maria in West Side Story, the 2021 Spielberg-directed musical was a complete commercial failure, grossing just $76 million worldwide against a budget of $100 million. Despite being celebrated by critics, it was a box office disaster, raising questions about Zegler's ability to carry a film. And this is where Marvin deviates from what I want to talk about at this exact moment, which is the fact that this young woman has yet to have a commercial success, a bona fide commercial success, other than maybe the Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes in diners and drive-ins and dragons or whatever. The name of that movie goes on forever. You said no?
No, it did not make money. It didn't even break even between the actual spend plus the ads in print, the promotional marketing campaign. They did not break even on that movie.
I believe you, first of all. So this is an actress that is in search of something that makes money, and this will probably be. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the box office figures for that Hunger Games reboot that they did.
They were pretty
can't
good.
imagine they're going to be lining up to do another sequel to that one, but I think this is going to outgross that film. I don't know by how much. I think this is going to land in the $350 to $400 million range.
Yes.
Personally, that's my guess.
Yeah,
I'm not usually a predictor of box office, but that's where I'm going on this one. Yeah, well, you want to venture a guess?
Well, yeah, no, I'm with you. 375 to 400 million is probably the right range. If it crawls over 400 million, like Brave New World did, or hasn't yet, my goodness, they still it crossed 400? It did yesterday. But anyway.
So I'll also point out that Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is at about 350 right now, right on the dot, and that one's getting a sequel. So good luck to you, Lionsgate.
There's no way they're going to do it. They can't possibly do a sequel to this. It didn't make any money. Why would you do that?
That's the thing. When everything has to be a sequel, a reboot, a franchise, it's speaking of films that
you know what, I strongly object to this film for a whole other reason, and it doesn't even have to do with the box office earnings. It's the fact that she became the #1 action star that year.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Yeah. Rachel Zegler. Did John Wick come out that year?
I don't know, but this irritated me. I was like, she is a commercial failure. Okay. She's making plenty of money. Disney's paying her. Spielberg paid her. This Y2K people that was terrible flop paid her. They didn't even make back money to pay the cast. They probably didn't make enough money to even pay her in the box office. Anyway, sorry. I take offense.
Now here is something that you really have to treasure, Marvin, who's not able to join us today. But I want to read this section in particular. Yet instead of engaging with those discussions, Zegler chose to fight back over a comment about her vocal range, something that doesn't even address why audiences are upset with the film. While appearing on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Zegler called herself a narcissist, a remark that seemed to be framed as a joke that many took seriously given her behavior. To be clear, we are not diagnosing Zegler, but since she herself introduced the term, it's worth exploring how narcissists typically respond to criticism. Narcissists often prioritize personal validation over addressing real issues, and that could be what's happening here. Rather than confronting the widespread backlash against Snow White, which includes concerns about the film's disrespect for its source material, its divisive changes, and Disney's overall handling of the project, Zegler instead focused on a single remark that questioned her talent. This is common behavior for people who are deeply invested in how they are perceived. They are far more likely to defend their own self-image than to engage in a broader conversation that might require them to acknowledge mistakes or missteps. I'm going to keep going because this is wonderful. Another hallmark of narcissistic behavior is the need to win battles they believe they can control. The criticism of her singing ability was an easy one for Zegler to refute. She could simply point to her previous performances and awards. This allowed her to feel vindicated while sidestepping the larger and far more difficult discussions surrounding her past comments about Snow White and the disastrous state of the film's promotion. Rather than engaging with the deeper, more damaging controversies, she picked a low-risk fight she thought she could win. Narcissists also tend to ignore constructive criticism while responding aggressively to perceived attacks on their intelligence or abilities. Zegler has been silent on Disney's controversial handling of the film's production, its poor marketing strategy, her own divisive comments, and even the backlash against the CGI dwarves. Yet the moment someone implied she wasn't a strong enough singer for the role, she immediately felt the need to defend herself. This suggests that in her mind, protecting her reputation as a performer is more important than addressing the actual concerns fans have about the movie. I really like Marvin right now.
No, he that was an amazing piece, right? And you know,
Yes.
and that's the thing. It's like there's so much to talk about this movie and about this young woman that he just kind of boiled it down in the most effective way. It's why every one of his articles is a must read. So
he's a poet, and
Yeah.
he's a very prodigious poet, I have to say.
I love, like I said, I love that article, and you just lit a light bulb in my brain as you were talking there towards the end, and I'm like, oh wow, that sounds a lot like Blake Lively.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of people in Hollywood that have a dash of narcissism. I'm going to say,
dash?
to be fair, there's a lot of that on YouTube as well. You know,
Hey,
there's a certain
I'm
amount of narcissism that has to go into putting yourself on YouTube over and over again.
I tried not to. I tried to be a faceless channel guy.
Yeah. One day you could put your face out there, just like me. Hey, look at this. Is this live for $5 Canadian? So what is the over under on the percentage of Snow White's box office being streamers who feel they have to go 25 to 35%? I don't know, actually. There are strong indications that the streamers don't really move the needle that much, other than awareness on the people who are already hyper aware. General audiences, I think, don't tend to care that much what the streamers say on a movie. Culture, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think the audiences that we attract are people who are probably 50-50 on whether or not they'll actually go look at something if they're looking at our reviews or they're following our channels or these particular stories. I think that's about a 50-50 factor. So I think the influence of the people that go and see it, but as far as like ringing the bell for the earnings for the film, I don't think we really do all that much. There's only I would say, let's say there's only 50,000 people that do what we do in some form or fashion or would actually go and review this movie. I'd say that's really not ringing the bell for this. They need millions of people to go see this film, and they just aren't going to get it. This is not going to be Moana 2. Which did you see the views on that? We're probably going to talk about that later, but I'm just going to say that when Moana live action comes out, that might be successful. When Lilo and Stitch comes out, that's going to be successful. This movie, predictably, is not going to be successful, and there's even super secret numbers, according to the Daily Mail. It's an analysis of these super secret numbers. Say that this film is going to earn 50 million or less in its opening box office here in the States. I think those super secret numbers come from the LA Times, but I don't know.
I think it's a fair point. Istophobos for $2. Zegler's voice, powerful but unpleasant. Heart Jonas. Thank you.
She has a solid belt tone, Jonas, would you say?
Yeah, she's fine there. There was a couple of times on a live performance that I thought
strained a lot.
Was that on pitch? I'm not quite sure.
No,
that's okay though.
Oh, no, I mean, even I.
One day
even
I'll
I.
get out there and belt something, and I'll be off key, and the people who hate me will
Yeah.
point that out.
Yeah,
A lot of people hate me right now on Twitter because I pointed out that a rated R film is the first thing you see on Disney Plus, and they're like, "Well, you don't have the parental controls on." I'm like, well, is the parental control really the problem on this Disney
No.
streaming service that is more than 30% just about a preschool program that Disney rents? No, I don't think I'm the problem necessarily. And yes, we have the strongest parental controls on Disney Plus that we don't allow our kids to get on Disney Plus without an adult in the room. So
That's true. How
we have
about
stronger restrictions on Disney Plus than we do on YouTube, which is the same rules, but there's channels that we approve of.
That's wild. Mine's probably not one of them because, once in a blue moon, there might be a naughty word that gets out of mine.
They're not quite at that age. They mostly like Zebra Gamer, who just is long form playthroughs.
Hey, I have a gaming channel.
You do, and it's streaming tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
There it is.
And sometimes, just sometimes, the channel is inappropriate for kids just because of the subject matter.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.